It's me once again, missing out on a week of the Legendary Action podcast, but that's due to my schedule. I can no longer do it at the appointed time that I usually do it, and I don't want to do it like on a weekend and just have a couple guys on there. So I guess it'd just be me for right now till I iron out all the specifics of what needs to be done. But what do I want to talk about? For a good minute, for the past week or so, I've been on Facebook just posing questions and, saying things along the line, just telling people about systemic racism and things like that. And of course, you have, black people going there and liking it, loving it, and all that kind of stuff. And there's Caucasian folks doing the same thing as well. But I just want I really want to talk to individuals that don't understand, that are mad or pissed off at the fact that everything that has to do with black, honestly, like you have people sitting here. I know how some of you are taking the protest like that's not how you're supposed to do a protest, blah blah blah, the looting. Well, you need to understand. I know I said this plenty of times in the other podcasts as well, but as far as the looting, you gotta understand, like, this is a lash out. Like, okay, you don't hear what we saying, you gonna let somebody get away with X, Y, and Z. Therefore, you gotta take measures for you to understand that ain't shit to be played out here. Ain't shit to be playing about people's lives and shit. And excuse my language if you're offended by it, but it is what it is. And I'm sorry I'm not looking directly at you. Just looking at Leo just tearing up this toy. But yeah, just a lot of people just take Black Lives Matter. I've been seeing even other black people just trying to just tear it down, like you don't care about black lives when it's black on black crime. First of all, stop saying black on black crime. That shit isn't real, because we don't sit here and say white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime, Asian on Asian crime. We don't say that. Yes, black people commit crimes on other black people in black communities or whatever, but you commit crimes relative where you live or where you're around. And if people are all in one area, well, if you're gonna commit a crime, it's gonna be in that area. So, duh. So just stop saying that, for one. And why do people just bring up like you don't care about black lives until it's a white person taking a black person's life? I got a number of issues with that. Like, you should care about someone taking someone's life anyway, no matter what they look like or where they are. And I understand a lot of y'all be saying all lives matter. Yes, every fucking life matters. But we're highlighting black lives because it seems to be the case, like black lives do not matter. So that's why Black Lives Matter became a thing. How is that so hard to understand? I really don't understand. Like, I can get, I really can't, but like being offended, like some people might take offense to it, like blaming all white people for this, that. I mean, my brothers and my sisters, y'all gotta understand, slavery was real. Like, it wasn't that long ago. And then on top of that, you had laws put in place. Once we so-called were granted freedom on paper, they still wanted slaves. So therefore, they put laws in place. I'm not gonna go through a number of different laws that they had, but you got to be able to do your own research, man. That's why I can't sit here and be on Facebook reposting videos, memes, gifs. I'd like to use my own words. I need you to understand what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop using someone else's rhetoric, someone else's mind. Use your own, please, and help me understand what you think with your own words. That's what we should be able to do. So I've been using my own words, and yeah, but it's the whole gist of everything. I do want to get on the whole comply thing, but first and foremost, you have to acknowledge that slavery was real. Second thing, that once it was written down on paper that slaves were to be freed, right? Or whatever, how just the order. And they still wanted, we had to go through segregation. Mind you, the slaves helped build up the wealth, the foundation of certain families of no color, Caucasians and whatnot. And so we weren't really, well, black people didn't really have much. So therefore, we had to start from the bottom. And then on top of that, we had to be segregated from being in type of those communities. So it's like, okay, we got to just work a million times harder to try to even, compete. And that's even relevant today. Yeah, I know a lot of people sit here and say, well, just work hard. Well, obviously, that's what people are going to do. They're going to work hard and try to be the best that they can. But you got to understand the history. Like, first of all, we don't learn the true history of things. And a lot of the history is whitewashed. And what I mean by whitewashed, like, say, for example, I remember we just like the simplest thing, Christopher Columbus. You sit here and say, this man discovered America. How can you discover a place where people are already living there? You get what I'm saying? But it's a celebrated holiday. I mean, look, I'm all for days off completely. But let's be real. This man did not celebrate anything or anything of that nature. So it's just like, just more whitewash shit. And then we can just talk about Jesus as well. Like, I start looking at people different. Even going to church, when I see like a white Jesus, I'm like, even though that shouldn't be the focal point, but it's like whitewashed everything. You're just trying to rebrand everything. That's not right, man. I just need people to understand that the whole whitewashing, slavery, the Jim Crow laws, all that leads to today. Like I said, we were segregated, trying to just fight and just get to a decent point in life where you're just making a good means of life, learning, education. We were like, why do I have to give a history lesson on what has happened? You should know these things, or you just don't want to know, or you just want to be like, this is however many years ago, we are better now. Yes, we are better now, but better isn't good enough. You know what I'm saying? Because we need to strive to be more than just better. We need to be absolute. And I know it's going to take some strides and a long while before we get there, but everybody needs to chip in, man. Everybody. You can't sit here like, it's not my fight. Yes, it is. This is human life. Humans. We are all equal. Man, woman. I can't even say, children because, you're up under your parents. But y'all know how that is. But it's man and woman. We are completely equal. Whether white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. We are equal. I'm not better than the next man. Or I'm not better than the next woman, or anything of that nature. Everybody is equal. And this is my own point of view. And as far as like, when it comes to taking life and stuff like that, I don't feel like, whether good or bad, we should just go around just taking lives. Now, I do believe in punishment. And punishment could be like, we could talk about it some other time about that aspect, but let me just get into my main topic that I want to talk about was comply. And, a lot of these videos that keep surfacing about black people getting harassed, right? And black people not wanting to comply with what the officer or officers are saying. But I need you to understand that we are black people, and everybody is seeing that a lot of them are getting harassed or anything. I know, look. Let me just, before I even go into that, before I say, in a perfect world, yes, you should comply with whatever they're saying. In a perfect world. But understand the history that a lot of officers were very corrupt. They was working for certain certain people. I shouldn't have to just remind you that as well, like, because slavery was real. And we can look into the history why cops were created. You should do your own homework on that. You should know that. As far as, like, it gets so frustrating sometimes just talking about these things. Like, how do you not understand, you know? But, like, look, the history. A lot of, man, it's just like, it is so frustrating just keep talking about this on a regular basis because people do not understand. Okay, so I'm gonna try to work my way through this whole comply portion, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. All right. So we have a history of slavery, and then cops have always been very aggressive, if you will, and they just work for a certain demographic, honestly. And you had laws put in place for black people to get more likely to get locked up, had drugs put into neighborhoods. So therefore, they were trying to make slaves out of them. That's why, that's the correlation there. That's why black people are more policed, because you gotta get them about it. I don't know what the fear is of someone, have a darker skin tone than you. I feel like it's weird at the same time because a lot of people want to tan and be dark, but everybody want the history, the abuse, none of that. It's just so much to it, and I'm getting distracted by just going on around in circles, just talking about this whole comply thing because I don't see how you don't understand it at the same time. So, for example, you have this history of police brutality, right? And that's derived from like racism, slavery, things like that. Okay. Now that we established that, then we have things where cops were coercing or trying to persuade people if they, let me take you down the station and stuff like that. And I forgot this Netflix special that was on there about the girl that got raped, and they brought some kids in. I forgot the name of it. That's some very disturbing shit. I ain't gonna lie to you. They brought the kids in and basically made them admit that they committed this rape, even though they didn't. Now, there's a history of that where you fit the description, therefore, either you're gonna be locked up for life. They threaten you in that aspect, like you're gonna get life or you're gonna get X amount of whatever. And then that's when people just like admit to it because they didn't want to be in somewhere for life because we weren't educated enough in that field, which now you definitely need to be educated on these things. That's like the biggest thing now. Just be educated on how to conduct yourself, know your rights, all that. And so when people just sitting there saying comply, you gotta look at the history, man. Like, whether it be someone take you out, try to kill you, or just trying to rough you up or pin something on you, you got to understand that, like, it's not that easy to just comply. And especially on top of that, if you just, like, you as a human being, like, to me personally, that's my biggest pet peeve is, like, being blamed for something I didn't do. And that actually makes me angry. And a lot of people gonna sit here and say, don't let your ego get the best of you. What? I don't want to hear nothing from anybody talking about ego this, ego that. Man, this is my life. Don't play with me. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit here and try to blame me for something. Don't do nothing like that. But I just need y'all don't, you can look at something a certain way, but you got to look at things at a different aspect, of different avenues, different ways of thinking. It can't just be one straight and narrow way. You got to look at it in many different ways. You look at it like in jobs, life. You can look at everything else. But when it comes to like situations where encountering a police officer, you look at it one way, straight and narrow. And look, you can sit here and make a case for a cop or an officer, whatever you want to call them, that they're put in situations where they just want to go home to their family. Look, man, if you feel that way, I mean, why do we have such? I mean, I won't even speak on the military aspect, like as far as being deployed or being uh, in a dangerous zone. I'm sure they got better. I'm not gonna say that, but they seem to protect like the locals there better than say here. I'm not gonna necessarily say treat them better, but it's just like in some cases, like you just look at things a little different. Like I don't know about that, you know. And I'm sorry for this being all unrefined, and it's just me just spilling out my thoughts about. And then I've been meaning to write a whole post on Facebook regarding comply, and just seeing how people react. Like, I just want people to understand, like, you got to see things more than one way. You can't just look at it like, well, you should just comply. History. Just look at the history. It would be nice to just comply, but it ain't that easy, man. I don't know what to say to y'all, man. I always felt this way, like people should be able to understand and come together, because we're people, we're humans. We should be able to understand. Now, I don't see you should necessarily be able to understand what someone's gone through if you haven't gone through it and all that, but you can sit here and look at a situation and see someone feeling a certain way or feeling a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So I just want, that's where the conversation needs to go, how it needs to be started, honestly, since it's so hard to see things when it's as clear as day. And that's just me, man. And that's why even sometimes I like to look to see what and if you find it offensive that I'm saying white or Caucasian, I mean, what else you want me? The oppressor. I'll say that, the oppressor. Like, if you feel, because there are a lot of people that like to go to the All Lives Matter. Well, duh. If you do feel that way about All Lives Matter, then why don't you just step into the Black Lives Matter, since it's all inclusive. It's just we're focused on this aspect. Not saying that our lives are more important than yours or anything. Why would you even think that? I don't understand why someone thinks that. Why Colin Kaepernick kneeling is disrespectful to the military. Like, the man flat out told you what it was, and then therefore it brought light to it, which a lot of people don't like. And you can't sit here and tell somebody how to protest something. You cannot do that. Because a lot of y'all say, you know, just go out there and, you know, march the streets and all that. I mean, yeah, but at a certain point in time, it's not gonna always get the job done. So therefore, you got to go other avenues. You got to use your platform responsibly, and that's what he did. That's what a lot of athletes are doing. They just shedding light on these things. A lot of people are speaking up, and it looks like things are changing a little more faster than normal, which is good. We're just trying to. Because you got to remember, this country promotes freedom more than anything. Freedom. So, once this country, you know, acknowledges the past and puts forth notions or whatever you want to say, put forth some kind of rebalancing of stuff. I don't even want to use the word rebalance, but like, you got to understand, we as a whole got a late start. That's not an excuse at all. I'm not sitting there saying that's an excuse for anybody, but I just need you to understand that and why things are going the way they're going, why people are being more active on their social media and talking more, just because you got to vent. I can't sit here and act like seeing black men or women being killed, like that doesn't affect me on a day-to-day basis. Like, look at me, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? Old lady, she black. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can't sit here and ever think that I'm gonna leave this earth and not actually live my life, you know what I'm saying? Or spend my life with my old lady, my dogs, you know what I'm saying? Like my friends, my family. It's I don't want to ever think that. You know, or I don't ever want to lose her. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to even think about that. That shit is so draining. So man, just respect life, man. That's all I want to say. And honestly, if you watch this all the way through, I appreciate you. I know it's like 20 some minutes, but I taught in circus. It wasn't well organized or anything like that. But I just had to get these thoughts out. Like, hey man, we gotta come together and love one another. If you got something to say in the comment section, please do. I like that some people are, even people that oppose like certain things I say, you know, they go into the comment section and actually say something. That's when we have the real conversation. When somebody thinks differently or has a different like a different frame of thinking, and they share it, and therefore I can understand more. You know what I'm saying? So do that, please. And I know a lot of y'all saying just comply, just comply, just comply. I already said it. It ain't just that easy. And stop saying it's some ego or some shit like that. It's more than just ego. It's the fucking history. How do you... Look, I understand they don't teach this shit in school. You gotta do this own thing, thinking and learning on your own. But yeah, that's pretty much how the podcast would win. But I don't even, like, a lot of things I don't even want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the NBA. It does feel like a lot of things are a distraction to what's the main point right now. Like, respect life. That's all. Respect life. But yeah, I'm gonna holler at y'all.